Well, hi there. We are the third and final group of the January part-time cohort at Upright Education. In the past month, our team has worked tenaciously to build a product that we are very proud to announce as the Dollar Divider. This full stack application was created for everyone and anyone who may share bills with other people and desire a clean, simple environment to organize their bills, transactions, and overall household budgets. But before we begin the demo, let's begin with an introduction of our amazing team.
Hi there, thanks for coming everybody. My name is Nicole Sekol, and I am very excited to be a part of the Dollar Divider project. I've been passionate about budgeting and personal finance for years. I actually currently work at a credit union where I'm able to make an impact on members' lives and the day-to-day financial decisions that they make. I've also come to life for years now with a coding mindset, and that is asking why things work. How could we make things better? How could things be a little bit more efficient? How could things be simpler? While I did learn JavaScript back in high school, Upright Education, 8 years later, gave me the opportunity to dive in deeper and just see exactly what JavaScript can do, and along with many other tools and systems there. I was actually able to serve on this team as the database designer, working with the different fields of input, the different information we would have, and all the ways that it would interact with each other. I also worked with the Git aspect of our team, controlling with the versions of our application and leading the team at that area. And finally, I worked as the full stack developer. Just in general, we really molded together on different aspects of the application, and it was a really, really exciting team to work with. So at this time, I'll have Dan go ahead and introduce himself.
So hello, I'm Dan Henry. In my previous career, I was a high school music teacher, but I've always had a strong interest in IT. So last fall, I started my coding journey with the Upright Education Ignition program. And then in January, I joined up with the part-time cohort for the full curriculum. When we began this project, we decided to play to our strengths. My role at first was pretty much focused on the front end development, beginning with getting the dashboard layout set up, while Nicole and Monet worked on the back end. And then after they were done with that, our roles became more generalized. I've very much enjoyed the experience here with Upright Education and collaborating with my dev team. And I very much look forward to starting my new career coding.
Awesome, Dan. I'll take over from here. My name is Monet Reid, and I am a current stay-at-home mom with an experience in nonprofit leadership. Before this bootcamp, I had never written a line of code in my life, but I was drawn to the software development just because of its potential for tech to help people. But I was fortunate enough to serve on our team as the project manager and full stack developer. Now, I would like to introduce you to the most important person of our team, and that would be our sponsor. Our sponsor has been Ingeborg Slegers. She is a software developer who came to Upright with a passion project for a household budget app that could be clean, simple, and self-sustainable to the users, no matter where they are in life. So when our sponsor came to us, she was very clear with her vision for the application. Splitwise meets Mint. Now, if you're like me and aren't quite sure what Splitwise or Mint are, let me explain. Splitwise is an application for groups of people who may share an expense and want to be able to split that purchase as desired. While Mint is definitely more of a professional budgeting software created through Intuit to help people on a monthly basis manage their expenses. When conceptually combined, they create Dollar Divider. With our sponsor's original vision in mind, as a team, we quickly realized that in order for our application to be successful, we would need to incorporate 6 pieces of functionality that would work together in creating a seamless budgeting experience. So let me walk you through those. Number 1 is the user, an individual user function for private billing and budgeting. But next, to make it a household budgeting app, we needed the household. That group accessibility for shared bills, transactions, and budgets. Next, number 3, transactions. We're going to be tracking negative expenses and positive income that affect the budget. 4, accounts. We're going to see live adjustments of financial account balances as they interact with transactions, bills, and budgets. Number 5, bills. Upcoming, reoccurring, and even auto-paid bills that the individual or household should expect within the budget. And then finally, budgets. The big picture of the application that takes in all the data to help organize the user's spending experience. So next, I'll pass it over to Nicole for a deeper understanding of our tools and implementation.
Thank you so much, Monet. So for our project and the main functionality and interactivity of it, we did use the MERN stack. We used Mongo Cluster for our database, Express as the backend framework, React for the front-end design and functionality, and finally Node.js for the server environment. We had also used Postman, which worked for our backend development and testing purposes. Chart.js was incorporated by Dan to give us some really neat graphs and visuals. And finally, we did also use GitHub, which helped us with the version control. Our sponsor really envisioned a dashboard setup for this application. And when we first heard that, we were trying to figure out how could we possibly get all this information onto one page and have it look good. So this is just our very first rough draft sketch of what that would look like, or what we thought that might look like, fitting the budgets, bills, everything all on that one view. What this really gives the user is a more seamless experience without a lot of hunt and find or navigating through many pages or windows, trying to find what they're looking to see or looking to do within the application. At this point, I'm going to have Dan actually share his screen, and he's going to get us ready for the live demo. Once Dan is up and running there, I'm going to have him transition to the login page where he's going to log in as a user named Tom. Tom is not only a user on the application dollar divider, Tom is also the administrator of the household. So if Tom navigates to the upper left-hand corner and he sees the sidebar there, he's going to open that up. The first thing he sees is, of course, his welcome message. And the second thing is a toggle bar. So he is going to actually click that bar, navigating him from the personal side of the application over to the household. Very similar layout, just different information being pulled in. On the personal side, Tom's information is only for Tom. Nobody else can see what is there. That is private. On the household side, anybody else who is in Tom's household can see that same information. Budgets, bills, when they're due, who spent money on what, all of it is right there. As the administrator, Tom has some additional permissions that regular household members will not be able to do. One of them would be creating a budget. Another is if Tom navigates to the household settings on the sidebar, the first thing he's going to see in the middle there is Tom's house. That is the name that Tom has chosen for his household. Tom's house currently has a user limit of 4. Tom also has the opportunity, if he wanted, to edit that information using the yellow button there. And just below that, Tom can see which members are currently a part of his household. He can see that currently he has 2 roommates, Abby and Billy. Tom here has the ability to click the remove button, permanently banning either Abby or Billy from the household, just in case things go south. Moving down, there's a drop-down menu for the adjust contributions. You can see here that the percentage breakdown by default is fairly evenly split. However, we don't want to assume that our users always want to split things that way. Here we'll give Tom the opportunity to click the pencil icon, and he can split things up however he wants to. Now, you might have noticed there are 4 users as the limit, but only 3 here. Well, that works out just fine because George, Tom's friend, is moving into the household. In order to invite George, Tom is going to click on the blue button there that says copy and invite code. He's going to receive a confirmation just to let him know that he did in fact copy that code. And at this point, Tom is actually going to pass his device over to George and log out. George thankfully already has a dollar divider account set up, so all he has to do is log in. Upon login, George is greeted with an empty household page. He has no information being pulled in because he is currently not a part of a household. He's going to navigate over to the sidebar. When he opens that up, if he were to click the toggle button, he would then be able to see any personal information he has. We can see here, he's got a few budgets: gasoline, shopping, student loan, entertainment, and snacks. But before we get into that, we're going to make sure George joins Tom's household. George is going to open up that household settings menu once again. And because he is not currently a part of a household, his view looks a little different than Tom's. He has two options here. He can create a new household where he can be the administrator of it and start from scratch, or he can join an existing one, which is what George wants to do in this case. Here, George is going to copy the invite code that Tom provided, and he's going to confirm that selection. Now, as the page loads in all that information, he's going to tap back into the sidebar there, and he's going to navigate over to the household budget information. And look at all that information. That came straight over from where Tom has it hosted as an administrator. He can now access all of those things, even though he doesn't have the same permission. He can still view and communicate those with his new roommates. At this point, I'm going to let Dan take over, and he's going to show you a few more things about our application.
So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to George's personal settings. And you can see here in the graph that we have some things have more money than others. So the student loan takes up quite a bit of space. Over here, you can barely see it. So I'm just going to hide the student loan. And now you can have a little bit better access to see the other things. So we have the chart here, and I'm going to create a new budget. George just bought a car. So we're going to create a new car loan. And we're going to say it's about $275 a month. And so now it's been created. Now that he has his loan, we're going to create a bill. So we've got for July, we'll have his first payment. We'll select the budget, say $275. Make it for July. Have it due on the 12th. And we're going to make this a recurring bill. So then we press add. And now here we have the bill. So it's recurring. That means that next month it would show up here, but not until George pays the bill. So we're going to pay the bill. So we click here and we mark it as paid. And now you can see it's grayed out. You can select, you can see it in August, ready to be paid then. And now it's also populated our transactions list. So George now has his car. It's time for him to move on. So we're going to go back to our settings, into household settings, and George is going to leave the house. And now his personal settings are there, but the household settings are now empty. So at this point, I'm going to hand it back over to Monet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dan and Nicole. Yes, at this time, it's the conclusion of our presentation. I just want to share my appreciation with you all for watching. As you can see, I invite you guys to please connect with us through LinkedIn. But at this time, I'd like to transition over to Kate for our Q&A. Thank you guys so much.